OpenAI just moved ChatGPT into a part of daily life where the stakes are very different from writing emails or summarizing PDFs. Personal money. Starting today, May 15, 2026, OpenAI says some ChatGPT Pro users in the United States can connect financial accounts, open a finance dashboard, and ask questions that use their real balances, transactions, investments, subscriptions, and debts. That is the important shift. This is not just ChatGPT giving general advice about saving more. It is ChatGPT looking at the financial picture you actually live with and trying to explain it back in plain English. The product boundary matters here. OpenAI says the first account connections run through Plaid, with Intuit support coming soon. The launch supports more than 12,000 financial institutions through that connection path. OpenAI also says ChatGPT cannot see full account numbers and cannot make changes to accounts. So this is not ChatGPT becoming your bank, and it is not a payment app. But it does put ChatGPT much closer to the surface where people make financial decisions, because the assistant is no longer guessing from a budget template. It can work from the same messy signals people usually have to pull together manually. That is why this feels bigger than a new dashboard tab. Personal finance is one of the places where generic AI advice gets thin very quickly. A model can explain an emergency fund, credit card interest, or a debt payoff method, but that does not tell you why your checking balance keeps getting tight before payday. Connected data changes the question from "how should a person budget" to what is actually happening in my accounts. That could mean catching a forgotten subscription, seeing how a recurring payment hits the same week as rent, or understanding why a savings goal looks realistic until irregular bills show up. The useful version is easy to imagine because the pain is ordinary. Say you are thinking about replacing your laptop with a $1,600 purchase. Instead of building a spreadsheet, you ask ChatGPT whether that fits the next 2 months. In the safe, practical version, it checks upcoming bills, recent spending, debt payments, cash balance, and your normal cushion, then explains the trade-off in normal language. Buy now and the cushion drops below your target. Wait until the next paycheck and the same purchase becomes less stressful. That is not glamorous fintech. It is the kind of small decision people actually need help making. The business impact is also pretty clear. Budgeting apps have spent years trying to categorize transactions and turn charts into useful answers. ChatGPT is coming at that same job from the other direction. Start with the question, then use the connected data to answer it. That favors people who already use ChatGPT and want one assistant for work, planning, and now money. It also creates pressure on standalone budgeting tools because their core value has often been exactly this: connect accounts, classify spending, surface subscriptions, and explain cash flow. If ChatGPT can do that in a conversation people already use every day, the comparison gets uncomfortable fast. But the trust question gets bigger, not smaller, even with the safeguards OpenAI describes. OpenAI says users can disconnect accounts, synced account data will be deleted from OpenAI systems within 30 days, and financial memories can be viewed or deleted. Those are important controls, but users still have to understand what they connected, what the assistant can analyze, what gets remembered, and how their data settings apply. The sensitive part is not only whether money can move. It is whether people understand the difference between a transaction being visible for analysis, a memory being stored, and a future answer being shaped by financial context they may have forgotten they shared. There is also a line between financial explanation and financial action. OpenAI is already framing Intuit as part of a path toward more personalized financial intelligence, including things like credit card recommendations, tax estimates, and sessions with live local tax experts inside ChatGPT. That makes the direction more concrete. Today's version can be described as a finance dashboard and question-answering experience. The next version may feel more like a place where advice points toward products, services, or human experts. That is where banks, regulators, privacy advocates, and ordinary users may start asking whether this is still a budgeting feature or whether it has become a new front door to consumer finance. The proof object viewers should look for is not a slogan. It is the actual connection, flow, and dashboard. Which accounts are listed? Which categories appear? How clearly does OpenAI explain Plaid, Intuit, permissions, deletion, and financial memories at the moment a user is about to connect an account? Those screens matter because this product succeeds or fails on informed consent as much as convenience. If the language is clear and the controls are easy to find, the feature looks more like a careful money assistant. If the permissions feel vague or the benefits are louder than the privacy details, the risk profile changes. What would change my mind is also simple. If this stays limited to a small group of pro users, avoids product-like recommendations, and keeps strong account controls front and center, I would read it as a cautious experiment in personalized finance. If it expands to plus or free users, ties more directly into Intuit actions, or starts shaping money decisions beyond explanation and planning, then the story becomes much larger. At that point, ChatGPT is not just answering questions about your money. It is becoming one of the interfaces through which your financial life gets interpreted, compared, and eventually acted on.